Last week I went 8-8. It was week one, and some of my games were really close. Some of my upsets were really close, and some of the picks I thought would be happy if they got the upset, aka the Chargers and Chiefs. Well, I picked the Chiefs. I'm glad they lost, but we're in week number 2 now, and things are getting interesting for a certain team.
Please welcome to the game, Fender Rock.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fender Rock Sports. This week, we have our new pick'ems for week number 2, along with our predictions. I know, once again, this is late. I'm going to work on getting these out quicker out to you guys. Week number two got off to a quick start for me. I post on the community tab to have everything in stone. And also, once again, I am on the Grossi Posse pick'em to keep myself up to date. So if you ever want to check, make sure I'm not lying, join the Grossi Posse pick'em league as well. I forgot to get it loaded before I started recording this. That's on me. But I did pick the Packers to win, and I had some notes going over how I thought they're going to win this week. I straight up said it should have been a fun game. It wasn't. It was not a fun game. It was boring. It was one of the most boring football games I've watched in a long time, unless you're a Packers fan like Mr. Grossi himself. Also, Packers, everyone's telling you to do this. Put a yellow stripe in the middle of that damn white helmet, and it would look fantastic. I don't know why they didn't do that. But I said it would be a fun game. The Packers showed what they can do, and they continue to show what they could do. The Commanders, they did not continue to roll. Old Debo had some moments because Debo's going to Debo. And Washington can win if they execute. They did not execute, and they basically got steamrolled. Don't let it was not a pretty game. So I'm just going to go ahead and get on the next one. I was right. I picked the Packers to win, and the Packers won the game. Next game we have is another cat fight. I picked the Panthers to beat Jacksonville last week. And, yeah, I'm not picking since freaking Carolina anytime soon, unless they play the Saints or something. But we're not talking about them yet. First up, we have Jacksonville at Cincinnati. The Bengals avoided a slow start-ish. They got lucky because the plague of having this year is teams seem to have no kickers. So people were mad about Jake Moody. Jake Moody obviously is no longer with the Niners, but there has been a kicking problem this year. I'm starting to wonder if this new ball thing is not actually doing what the NFL wanted it to do, because it so far has not been a pretty year kicking. But Jacksonville came out and they stomped my predictions. They came out and executed and destroyed the Panthers. I gotta remember I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers, not the Bay Area Panthers, because I'm used to saying Panthers when I'm talking about Bay Area. But they just came out and executed, and they utterly humiliated the Carolina Panthers. So it's to be a toss-up. Jacksonville looked way better than people were expecting him to. Cincinnati still underperformed, but also the Browns do have a good defense. It's the one thing the Browns have going for them. But this week, I do still see the Bengals. It's games in Cincinnati. Would not be surprised if the Jaguars can win this game, but I do in my soul feel like the Bengals should win this game, and making my cousin a very happy 2-0 fan. Yeah, I'm not wasting your time with this one. Dallas is pissed. And next up, we have Chicago at Detroit. Chicago last week started off pretty strong, and then they collapsed. And Detroit got completely embarrassed by the Packers. And I fear for the souls of everyone on that Chicago team right now for what Dan Campbell has planned to get revenge for being embarrassed that badly in week 1. Because last time this happened, he came back, and you all know how Dan Campbell rolls. It's not going to be a pretty game. Detroit, I have this winning all the way. Look, Cam tried. That's all I have to say about that. New England at Miami. This one is more of a toss-up for me. New England looked fine for a bit, and then just the second half just crapped the bed. It was the Raiders just put them in their place, and it was easy going for them in the second half. But Miami, man, I don't know what happened. I get there's so quote-unquote turmoil. There's no excuse for why they did so badly, unless the Colts are just that team now. But we'll see how things go. That was Miami put up one of the most disgusting games I've ever seen. It was hard to watch. I didn't watch it. I was watching it on Red Zone, keeping an eye on it, and I went and watched the highlights after. It was gross. It was bad. It was an affront to football as we know it, and they owe the entire world an apology for how they performed. But this week, they're playing in Miami. They're playing a rival. I feel like the Dolphins can win if they perform like they did last week. I'm again like the Panthers. I am not picking them until they prove me wrong. And if the Miami Dolphins do lose, I will welcome Mike McDaniels with open arms back to the coaching staff as we get the band back together in San Francisco. Injuries. Kittle is out. Purdy is out. Trent might be out. Jennings looks like he's going to play. It's painful being a Niners fan, folks. While we did beat the Sea Chickens, I'm thankful. The stretch we have, if Purdy really is out for 2 to 5 weeks, the way the way John Lynch is making it sound like it's going to be closer to the 2 side. If it's going to happen at any point in the season, I am kind of glad it's now, because our stretch is quote-unquote easy right now. We do play the Cardinals, and the Cardinals always play us hard, but we're going up against the Saints, who are also, they're battered. They just announced, well, before I recorded this, that Chase Young is out of the game, and they have some other linemen also out of this game. But the Niners have to win this game. They should win this game, and I just really hope they do good. The thing that has the Niners going good is the defense looked amazing in week 1. They truly did. There were some moments, which always happens, where the Seahawks kind of broke through, but overall, the defense looked spectacular. Warner gave us a scare when he got his face busted, but thankfully it was nothing too serious. I'm also sad. I wanted to get the Warner jersey. I woke up too late, so I'm on the wish list for that to hopefully comes back with a limited edition version. I got the Purdy one because the Purdy one also still looks nice. I love these damn rivalry jerseys so freaking much. So check out the podcast tomorrow on the main channel. We're going to be talking about the rivalry jerseys rankings. I'm excited to do that video. But I digress. Yeah, the Niners should win this game. The Saints are... They looked okay last week, but we don't know how the Cardinals actually are. So, Niners, please start 2-0. New York fought hard for that week 1 win. Unfortunately, they just could not stop Grandpa Vengeance. Yeah, that was insane. New York was doing fantastic, but they just couldn't do it. And Buffalo proved their grit with that comeback. It's just as simple as that. Even though the Buffalo has all these question marks, they still find ways to execute because they have Josh Allen, and he does what leaders are supposed to do. Even it's honestly, there's an effect people aren't really. I'm not seeing people talk about this. It's the Tom Brady effect. You have lesser quote unquote receivers and players around him, but he brings out the best in these players, and that's something Josh Allen does. So it's hard to bet against him, but New York impressed me and a lot of people in week 1. Fields was balling. Fields did great, but New York can win if Fields balls out again completely and just gets out ahead and holds them down. I just don't see that happening. Buffalo, I do see Buffalo starting off 2-0 as well, but this game should be a good one. Keyword is should. Please don't let me down, Jets. Well, let me down by losing, but don't let me down by being sucky. The Sea Chickens almost defended their nest until they got Bosa'd, and it was glorious to watch. That game, I've never been angry during an entire game. That game was ugly. It was an ugly, and then we found out Purdy was at turf toe pretty much the entire game, and that explained why a lot of his throws were kind of inky-dinky because he couldn't plant. So he gets a little bit of pass. People, chill out until you get the facts. But the Steelers also surprised a lot of people because, again, they resurrected Old Man Vengeance. And I'm using Vengeance as a joke here because he has no right to be as pissed off at the Jets as he has because it's all his own damn fault. But I digress. It fits his narrative more. I do see Pittsburgh winning against Seattle. I even though it's a rivalry game, I was not too impressed with them in the week 1. They fought good, but at the end of the day, the Steelers look like they're going to be good. They have a better defense. We proved last week that the defense could stop them, and the Steelers have an equally good defense. And if their offense plays as good as they did in New York, it's going to be a long day for Seattle and Pittsburgh. Yeah, no. I said this before, but Carolina disappointed me. I am fully out on them until they prove me wrong, which could happen against Arizona because Arizona is also another prove me team. But yeah, I am hoping this is the week they prove me wrong because I want them to beat the Cardinals. I don't want 3 teams to be 2-0 my division, but I just don't see it happen. I wasn't too impressed with the Cardinals in week 1. They had a little bad opponent because they're playing against the Saints, but We'll see how things goes. It's early in the season. It's hard to get full gauges. That's why the first couple weeks of pick'ems are hard. That's why I said, once again, I'm delaying my power rankings until later in the season. We're on week 5. We have more feeling for how teams are going to be, but Arizona's going to win this game. And we have the main matchup of the week. We have a Super Bowl rematch of the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles, they haven't missed a beat. They've rolled against the Cowboys. Granted, the Cowboys did put up a good fight, but there's no Super Bowl rust, it seems, which is terrifying. The Chiefs let me let me lose a pick'em, but I'm happy about it. Again, they lost last week to the Chargers. I'm okay with that, but at the same time, it made me finish at 500 exactly last week, so it is what it is. However, I am picking the Chiefs to win this game for one simple word: shenanigans. I don't see the league letting their darling Mahomes going down to 0-2 to start the season. And then again, it also helps fit the narrative of, oh my God, we're underdogs. And then they come back at the end of the year and dominate like they always frickin' do. So I don't trust it one bit. I do see the Chiefs winning this game somehow. I would not be surprised whatsoever if the Eagles win this game, as they should. But shenanigans, man. It's shenanigans. They're in Kansas City. It's hard to bet against shenanigans when it comes to the Chiefs. I've seen it too many times. Trust me. Atlanta came so close. I picked them to win last week, but I feel their pain with this. They were let down by their kicker. And then on the Minnesota side, they were the opposite of the Bears. They started off really slow and then sped up in the second half and came back and won that game. This game's happening in Minnesota. I do think home field advantage is going to be in favor of the Vikings. I do see the Vikings winning. I don't see J.J. McCarthy. I feel like it was a lot of nerves for him, honestly, and playing a rivalry game. Your first game playing in the NFL is in Chicago, which is a rowdy place. No matter how quote-unquote bad the Bears are, their fans show up, they cheer for their team, and they love the Bears. So we'll see how things go. I think they're going to get their ship right. I do see the Vikings win this game in J.J. McCarthy's home debut. Now we have the Bucs and the Texans. The Buccaneers won last week by the skin of their skulls, because once again, kickers. What is up this year with kickers? But we'll see how the year goes. Maybe they'll have to get readjusted to their balls. But they had all preseason. They've had plenty of practice. This was their idea to have the balls like this, but we'll see how things go. The Texans looked flat and just could not protect for C.J. Stroud. I am looking for Texas to get their hot start going, hopefully right the ship. If not, this might be a very long season in Texas. Funny note here. At the beginning when I was writing the notes for this video, I started off putting San Diego at Oakland. Yeah, I'm an old soul, what can I say? Even though technically when I first became an NFL fan, it was still LA versus LA, so go figure how that works. The LA Chargers gave me the best pick'em loss I've ever had in my life. Thank you, John Harbaugh, because who's got better than us? Nobody. Sorry, Jim. There's too many Harbaughs. But both these teams impressed me last week. The Raiders did good. The Patriots have a good defense. Their offense is maybe the problem here. But the Chargers were also impressive as hell, obviously beating the Chiefs down in Sao Paulo. But I am looking for the Raiders to win this game. I feel like their win was a little more impressive because it was not a rivalry game, even though I guess it was a rivalry game in the sense that Tom Brady wants to beat his old team, whatever. But I don't know. Something about the Raiders, I'm intrigued by the Raiders. I will not be surprised if the Chargers win this game whatsoever, but you never know. Hopefully I have a better week this week. Hopefully my upset picks upset their opponents. We'll see how that goes. But until then, we'll see what happens on Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below what your picks are. If you want to follow me, I'm available on many social medias down below. I have my main YouTube channel, Fenrock. This is Fenrock Sports. Yeah, NFL, man. It's a fickle, fickle business, but it is what it is. As always, you've been great. I've been Fenrock. Play on. I'm trying to think of new outros for the different channels. Whatever. Thank you for joining today's entertainment. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and grab more soon. Please join us next time.